Welcome to the tutorial on updating your graphics in your game screen and adding things such as like a house or something to your game. This tutorial is set up so that you've already completed my beginner tutorial. Now you could have gone in another direction and done some of my inventory tutorials or my enemies tutorials, but I'm trying to make all of these projects work so that no matter where you are, as long as you follow the same system I'm using, you should be able to add this to your game. So what I've done is I've taken the project that is the very end of my beginning RPG tutorial, and we're going to get started from there, showing you how you can now add some just more graphics and more of a screen, more things to your screen. All right, so we're going to go inside our game. And so again, if you haven't done my first 5 beginner lessons, you will want to go back and do those because I'm using some of the things we've done in those lessons to get to this point. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make my boards bigger. So this board has walls everywhere. And so what I'm going to do is make it so I'm outside. So if I look at my costumes, let's think about this. So with this coordinate axis system, our first room is the room 0, 0, and I'm going to make that room completely blank, no walls. Okay, so I'm going to add a few. When I add a blank costume, I just add it like this, and I'm actually going to call this 0, 0. But I can't call it 0, 0 because this costume's named that. So I have to give that a different name. Like I could give it another 0, so it's 3 zeros for now. All right. So I'm going to make 0, 0 completely blank. So that way I have all these options. Kind of my idea is to having just a big outline around a bunch of boards so that I have some room to walk around and fit my house and different graphics into my game. Alright, so we're going to start off with, and we're on the wall sprite, and we're just going to have a blank board. So then if we go up, that would be 0 on the X and 1 on the Y. I'm going to try to line this up so I don't glitch. And as you can see, that room we've created already, and that's like what's above. So we need to make sure that when we make walls on one screen, they have to be on the other. So really the room 1, 0, I don't want to have walls on the bottom at least either. So I'll just try to make this, we'll just do like kind of a rectangle. So a lot of these walls I'm not really going to use because none of my these are like for small rooms, and I'm not really going to have that. So actually now that I think about it a little more, I'm just going to delete all of these walls. What you decide to do with what you have, you can go ahead and decide that. So I'm going to create another paint blank wall, blank room, and I'll call this room 0, 1. That'll be my room up. And so when your walls are all blank, you can walk around forever. There's going to be no problem with glitches or anything. It's just kind of hard to tell what board I'm on because all my grounds look the same too. The only way I can tell is by looking at my coordinates here on my XY variables, and that tells me where I am. Alright, so I want to go up, and then I'm going to make a wall here, like at the top. Okay? And instead of drawing like just a solid color rectangle, I'm actually going to use some of my tile sets. I'm going to go in there, and if you're following along, I'm going to go to metals. It's the 9th in this right now. I don't know if I'll ever change this, but looking at this game, it's the 9th one. And here we have just little spots of rocks and different walls and things. And so I'm going to actually create my walls out of this. This one's not too bad. So I'm going to take that. So I'm going to click on the selecting, and I'm going to select just this much, like that. And I'm going to hit Command Copy, and I'm going to go to my wall sprite, and I'm going to go to the 0, 1, which is at the top, and I'm going to paste that in, and zoom in a little bit on that. So just have a little bit of wall there. Alright, and you can see it's kind of small, so I'm going to make it bigger. Alright, and it's already kind of looking like a rock wall already. And I'm going to zoom out a little now that I made it bigger, and I'm going to put it right up at the top, so it's a wall. So it's going to keep me from going up. Right? And I'm going to paste this in, and maybe zoom in a little bit. So I made another copy of it, and that doesn't look too bad, I don't think. And so I'll paste another copy. And I'm starting to see there's something going on here. At the very bottom, I have some, like, that little black triangle. Now, if you're following along, you may have selected it better than I have. So before I do anything else, I'm going to get rid of those before I make any more copies. And so I don't keep spreading that little imperfection. Whoop. And I keep getting that white line between. I want to make this line up pretty good. So, you know, the graphics take a little bit of time. And I'm not the best at drawing, and one of the things I forgot to do is I didn't convert to bitmap. And so then that blurs everything. So everything I just have done is kind of wasted because it looks really terrible. See how blurry it looks from going there? So I made a really big mistake there. And so everything I did is going to be ugly from here on out. So I'm going to delete all of that. And unfortunately, to have that in this video is, and maybe it's a good thing because it kind of shows that you need to really pay attention to what you're doing, and I didn't. I stayed right in vector, and I want to be in bitmap. So I'm in bitmap now, and so I won't get that blurriness when I stop. But I still have that little imperfection there. And when you're doing these pastings, you can undo it if you don't like where it ended up. And this can be pretty time consuming, as I think you can imagine just by watching this. All right. Now that I at least have two, instead of just pasting one, I can select both of them, hit Command Copy, Command Paste, or if you're using a PC, Control, same difference. And now I can do 2 chunks at a time, which is going to make this go just a little bit faster. And it may seem like, oh man, I have to do this forever. But once we get this wall done, that's going to be the wall that's on the top, we don't ever have to draw it again. We'll have it, and then we can use that costume again later. So we really only have to do this once for the top. And you'll see what I mean as I go on. So, it takes some time, but I'm just pasting the copied 2 blocks, and I'm just going all the way across to give me a kind of stone looking wall that you see I'm building. You can select a different rock wall or anything else that you want to make your wall look like from the tile sets. And I could have done this a long time ago, but I could select the whole thing now and paste that. So this will definitely be the last one. Alright. Alright. Okay. So now, and this will start coming together, and you'll start seeing what I'm doing. So now I can't go up here. Alright, so now we're going to go over to this room. Right. And the game right now doesn't know what to do because it doesn't have a costume named -1, so it's kind of random what could have been chosen. But when we enter in the name of what room we're in room -1, okay, so it looks like -11. We have that room, okay, and what we can do is really -1, 1 is going to look a lot like 0, 1. Alright, so actually, I'm just going to delete that. And I'm going to duplicate that. This is going to be better. So I'll duplicate this one, and I'm going to call this one -1, 1. And as soon as I name it that, boom, the wall comes in. Alright, and because that's the room I'm in. But the difference here is I'm going to have a wall to my left. Alright, so I'm just going to grab a little bit of this. Like this, And, well, yeah, something like that. We'll see what it looks like. Maybe that much. That's not too bad. Paste another piece. And now what I'm trying to do is work my way down to have this wall on my left. Okay. And over here you can kind of see it's starting to come in. Alright, I'll do a little more like so. And so this is just going to take some time to draw. And what's nice about this though is we're almost done, because once we've done the top and we've done a side, we can just flip it around and make it the other. You'll see in a minute. So we're really, not only are we doing room -1, 1, we're also doing 1, -1. And I'll show you as soon as I finish this. So then I'll move that whole big piece down. Make sure it lines up. So you're going to be doing a lot of zooming in, zooming out, getting things to line up nicely if you want it to look nice. And one more time. This will finish it. Oops. Move this all the way down. There it is. Alright. So like I said, what we're going to do now is we're going to duplicate this right here. And we're going to call this 1, 1. And we're just going to flip it on the horizontal. So it looks like, let me zoom out so you can see what I just did. So it's going to look like that. And so now when I go over to that room, I have that wall. So if you, hopefully now you can kind of see what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to make one big room, okay? One big room. Just like that. So now I want to make a room where I come down here, and you see the game glitched out because I haven't made that room yet. So it doesn't know what to do with that. So I'm going to just reset the game. So that room will be one room lower than this. All right, it's one to the right. All right, and so I'm going to duplicate this room, and I'm going to call it 1, 0. So it's 1 on the X, but 0 on the Y. I'm not going to go up or down. And the difference I'm going to make on this is it's not going to have a wall there. It's just going to have a wall on the right. All right. And so when I go over there, you'll see there's that room. All right. So as I said, it took a minute to make the 2 walls, but really that's all we need now. We can just keep copying. So basically, if you're following what I'm thinking, if we duplicate this room, we can call it -1, 0, and we can just flip this on the horizontal. All right. So now when I go over here into that room, -1, 0, the wall's on the left-hand side. Now we got this little issue here because we have this door that I put in, and we'll deal with that later. Now let's do it down at the bottom. All right. So when I go down here, there should be a wall down here. That's just like the 0, 1 room, except for it's called 0, -1. And instead of the ceiling being at the top, instead of the wall being up here, we want it down here. So we're going to flip that on the vertical. All right. And then when we come over to this room, the -1, 1 room, we should have it down at the bottom and on the left, right? Because when we come up here, see it's on the left. And the game doesn't even know what to use again. It's glitching because there is no room called -1, 1. But we'll make that right now. We're going to make it just like this room, so I'm going to duplicate this room. and I'm going to flip it on the vertical so it looks like that, and I'm going to call it negative 1, negative 1. Just like that. No commas, of course. And now we have that room. And once again, that will be the same room as, duplicate, as the one to the right, except for it'll be flipped horizontally. And we have, that will be 1 on the x, but negative 1 on the y. All right? And so there we go. So for this first lesson, all I'm showing you how to do is make yourself have this one real big board. Okay? See, when I go, and it works out nice. I have this one real big board. It makes up, what, 9 different costumes. There's 9 costumes because there's like 9 boards that I just made. So then these extra costumes that are blank down here, I'm just going to just go ahead and delete them because I didn't actually use them. So you delete those, all right? And so now I have one big board, all right? So stay tuned. Lesson 2, I'll show you how to put in a house.